Hello everyone, how's it going? This video is going to be about mindfulness. I know I've made quite a few videos about mindfulness in the past, but this one's going to be a bit different. In this video, we're going to be looking at 5 ways or 5 easy quick fixes we can make in our lifestyle that can make us much more mindful in a general way or a general sense. So let us begin the video without wasting much of your time. Firstly, let me explain what mindfulness is for all of you who don't know. Well, for that, let me present a figure or a fact to you that has been researched by quite a few people. Well, before that, we all know that we humans live in the moment, at least physically, right? But what about mentally? That's for us to find out. Well, the research states that even though we humans live physically in the moment, in the present, but over 70% of what we think during any given day is either about the past or about the future. It's surprising, isn't it? We are just here physically, but then mentally we are somewhere else, either in the past or in the future most of the time. Now you might think, what's wrong with that? Well, that's all good, but sometimes a problem can arise. For example, when we think about the future, we're basically thinking about something that's uncertain. And when we're thinking about something that's uncertain, in a lot of cases, that's sure to induce a lot of anxiety and a lot of negative thoughts in general. And the same goes to past as well. While thinking about the past, we could be reminiscing really sweet memories too. But in a lot of cases, we could also be going over regret about our actions in the past. We could be having thoughts like, oh, I could have done this thing right, or I could have done that this way. So basically, most of the time we are thinking either about the past or the future, and that is inducing a lot of anxiety. So what is the solution to the anxiety part? Well, that's living in the present moment, both physically and mentally. And what is living in the physical moment mentally called? Well, that's what mindfulness is called. I hope you've understood what mindfulness is from this simple explanation. Now that you know what mindfulness is, let us understand some of the benefits of mindfulness in a general way. I'll just cover them quickly. Well, there are a lot of researched and scientifically proven benefits to mindfulness, some of them being clarity to the mind and general inspiration. If you'll try it yourself, you'll feel that whenever you are mindful and whenever you do something that's mindful, you generally feel a sense of clarity and a general sense of inspiration to do something or do things that are within your control. These are experiences I've had personally, and science has proved them too. So it's better you see or experience the benefits for yourself. I'd highly recommend all of you to do something that's mindful each and every day. We'll understand the benefits best only when we'll experience them. So just to summarize the benefits, first of all, it can reduce anxiety in a huge way, and other than that, it can also clear the mind. It can give a lot of mental clarity, and on top of that, it can help us become action oriented and also focus on things that we can control, because it relieves us of distracting and uncertain thoughts about the future as well as the past. So those are the benefits of mindfulness. There are quite a few. I've discuss some of them, but I'd highly recommend all of you try and experience them yourselves. So now let's get to the main part of the video, that is 5 ways that you can be much more mindful in your daily life. So let's begin. Firstly, observing your breath, or what we call meditation. Well, observing your breath or meditation is the best way to be mindful, because there's a lot of science that proves how meditation and observing your breath or breathing slowly helps you live in the present moment and helps you clear distracting or worrying thoughts about the future and past. And it's true, because if you try it for yourself, when you try to observe your breath, you just calm down and you'll immediately notice that your breath slows down and then your mind clears somehow. There's a lot of science proving this, but then I'll not get into the scientific part. I'd highly recommend for you to just try it for yourself. Try sitting somewhere that's calm and then try observing your breath. That, simply put, is meditation. There are a lot of types of meditation, but those are for the advanced levels. But if you're just trying to start out, then we could always rely on just observing our breath. That, simply put, is meditation. We don't have to confuse ourselves with a ton of advanced or technical information. Observing your breath is something you can harness the power of to live in the present moment, even if that is for just like 10 minutes or 15 minutes a day. So meditation or observing your breath or conscious breathing is something I would highly recommend. I wouldn't blame it on my studies, but for the past few months or so, I couldn't really be really consistent with my meditation, but now I'm back at it. I'm trying to do it daily. So if you've done meditation and you've left it, just take a little break and come back to it. Don't give up on it, because it is really a magical practice, and there's no harm for trying it for like 15 minutes a day, every day, or having it as a habit. So I'd highly recommend meditation or conscious breathing or observing your breath, the simplest thing you can do for mindfulness every day. Secondly, conscious eating. Now I know all of us have done this at some point in our lives or are continuing to do so. I do it too sometimes, and that is eating while watching TV, reading books, or doing something else, basically multitasking while eating. This could also be a great opportunity for practicing mindfulness, because if we leave everything else aside and just focus on our plate, focus on what we are eating, that is one of the best ways to practice mindfulness, honestly, because you're feeling every bite, and again that somehow pivots you into a present moment like state. So it basically again helps you live in the present moment. It helps you get relief from the past and the future. I am guilty of watching TV too sometimes while eating, but then now that I've recorded it on camera, I feel I'm much more accountable now, so that will help me in a way. Again, you can do this or try to be accountable with this practice. I'm sure it will help you. And also, as a bonus, we could also try to be grateful for the food that we're getting to eat every day and enjoy every bit of it. Now that is ultimate mindfulness. Doing this all the time, every day is definitely gonna help us. So let us try doing it. Thirdly, not listening to music while exercising. Now I know a lot of us while exercising like to listen to music, because it somehow soothes us and numbs us of the pain of exercising, of lifting heavy weights or going for strenuous runs. But then this is again an opportunity to be mindful, because again when we are exercising, it pivots us into being in a present state or not being in the past or the future. So try to switch off that music while you're exercising and focus on every rep of push-up that you're doing or every step that you're taking while running. That definitely will help us in the long run. Now I am glad I am not someone who listens to music all the time. I have listened to music sometimes, but that's really rare. Other than that, I do listen to audiobooks sometimes while exercising or while running, but I generally prefer not listening to anything while exercising or running. I like to focus on each and every rep or each and every step. So again, this is a great opportunity for us to be mindful, and as a bonus, this also helps us become much more uncomfortable in some daily task in life, because if we don't have that music that soothes us of the pain while we are exercising, that is an act of discomfort, and discomfort makes us mentally strong. So this is kind of a double benefit activity that we would be doing. We'll be mentally strengthening ourselves as well as being mindful at the same time. So I'd highly recommend all of you to get a habit of doing this. Really helps you become mindful, and as we know, mindfulness is kind of a superpower. Fourthly, doing something that's slow paced, which could be reading. Now if you would compare something like watching TV to reading a book, you can obviously find out that the former is like really rapid and we have to absorb a lot of information at once, and the latter is kind of relaxed and slow paced and helps us live in the present moment. I think these slow paced activities such as reading offer a great way to be in the moment and to forget about all the worries of the past, future, any distracting thoughts for that matter. So I think reading is a great way to help being mindful in general. If you're not a reader, then I'd highly recommend you to get started with reading. I was not a reader myself. Just like even 2 years back, I used to wince at the thought of reading books, but now I genuinely have that interest for reading books, and I'd recommend you to cultivate that interest too if you're not really into reading. If you'll try reading, you'll understand that whenever you read, you get immersed into the text and you focus on each and every line and you feel as if you're living in the present moment. So reading basically or any other slow paced activity is a great opportunity to be mindful, and it is important that we include such activities, such slow paced activities in our daily routine. Lastly, adding pockets of time in your day wherein you are just sitting in silence and observing things. Well, this is kind of similar to meditation. However, in this case, you will be opening your eyes and just observing things around you. That could be you sitting in the balcony having a look at the view around for like 10 minutes or so, or it could also be observing the littlest things around and trying to empty your mind, just trying to observe the thoughts that are around you and trying to let them go. This will also help us appreciate the littlest things in life, which is an important thing to do, because a lot of time we are out there chasing the big things, but we don't enjoy or take pleasure out of the littlest things we have right in front of us, right at our disposal. So I'd highly recommend you to be doing this with meditation too. Doing this in combination with meditation will serve you well in being mindful. Talking about just observing things around and sitting in silence, there's a great trick I stumbled upon recently on the internet, and I'd love to share it with you. Well, the trick is nothing but this. When you're sitting like this and you want to empty your mind, just ask yourself, what is my next thought? When you try this for yourself, you'll immediately see that you're just blank of thoughts the exact moment you ask your mind this. Our brain is kind of funny because it does the exact opposite of what we ask it to do. So yeah, whenever you're sitting in silence and just observing things around, try asking yourself or try asking your mind, what's my next thought? You'll immediately see yourself free of all kind of thoughts. So that ultimately is a great way to be mindful again. This concludes the list of the 5 things that can help you be mindful in everyday life. I hope you found some value out of these. You must have noticed all these points or all these activities are based off common principles. Principles such as not being into multitasking, or activities that give you a sense of calm, activities that gives you a sense of peace in the long term too. If you've understood what these common principles or what is the commonality between all these activities, you could come up with your own activities and put them in your routine anytime. I mean, even for some, playing games can be a mindful activity and can be a great way to relax and can be a great way to be in the present moment. So it's up to you to decide whatever it is that helps you be more mindful and to actively start trying it and applying it in your daily life. So that's it for this video. I'll see you around in another video. Until then, take care, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.